Open your banking app right now, or your finance tracker, or whatever spreadsheet you've been quietly updating once a month, trying to feel like a responsible adult. Look at the number at the top, the one labeled net worth. That number is lying to you, not by a little, not in some philosophical way that doesn't matter. It is lying to you by somewhere between 15 and 30%. For most people watching this, that is at least $100,000 of wealth that exists on the screen and not in your actual life. I know. I felt the same way the first time someone explained this to me. A few years ago, I was sitting across from a guy. I'll just call my friend's dad. He is the kind of guy who, when you ask him a question about money, takes about 40 seconds before he answers. Looks at the ceiling, sips his coffee, makes you regret asking. I just told him very proudly that my net worth had hit a number I was happy about. He didn't congratulate me. He asked me one question. Yeah, but how much of that can you actually use this Tuesday? I sat there for a minute, and I realized I couldn't actually answer, because the number on the spreadsheet wasn't sitting in a checking account. It was scattered across a 401k I could touch without losing a third to taxes, a house I couldn't sell without losing 6% to fees, stocks I couldn't sell without triggering capital gains, and a chunk of equity locked inside walls that don't pay rent back to me. When I actually added up what I could spend that Tuesday if I had to, the real number was about 30% lower than my spreadsheet said. That is when I started looking into this properly, and what I found was uncomfortable. So here's what I want to do for the next 9 minutes. I'm going to show you the 3 things your net worth number quietly hides. The financial industry knows about all 3. They built the metric this way on purpose. And the reason they did is going to make you a little angry, but it'll also make a lot of things in your financial life suddenly make sense. By the end, you're going to know how to calculate a number that actually reflects what your wealth can do for you in the year you need it to, not what it would do in a tax-free, friction-free vacuum that doesn't exist. Let's go. 2 American households, both with a net worth of exactly $1 million. On paper, they look financially identical. Both are technically millionaires. Both would appear in the same bracket of a wealth report. A financial advisor would describe them in the same language. The first household has $1 million in cash and index funds. The second household has a house worth $1.1 million, with a $100,000 remaining mortgage. These 2 households are not financially equivalent. They are not even in the same financial universe. One has options. The other has a roof and a tax bill. And the difference between them is the entire reason that the most commonly used measurement of personal wealth quietly fails the people who rely on it the most. And the difference has nothing to do with one household being smarter, nothing to do with one being lazier, and nothing to do with one taking more risk. It has everything to do with a structural flaw in how net worth is calculated, reported, and understood. A flaw almost nobody has explained clearly until now. The popular advice for managing your money is to track your net worth, add up your assets, subtract your liabilities, watch the number grow over time. And in a narrow sense, that advice is fine. A growing net worth is generally better than a shrinking one. But the number itself, the headline figure on your spreadsheet, hides 3 dimensions of real financial life that determine whether you are actually wealthy or simply theoretically wealthy. And those dimensions can make 2 people with identical net worths live in completely different financial realities. And once you understand what your net worth number leaves out, you'll never look at your own wealth the same way again. So it is time to learn how money works, to find out why the number you think describes your wealth is structurally designed to flatten your real financial life into a single misleading figure. Okay, so the first thing to understand is that not all dollars of net worth are equally usable. This is what financial professionals call liquidity. But in plain English, it means this: cash sitting in a bank account can pay rent next month. Equity locked inside a house cannot pay anything. You can slice off 8% of your kitchen to cover a medical bill. You can't sell your bathroom to fix your car. The only way to access home equity is to sell the entire house or to borrow against it. Both of those options are slow, expensive, and stressful. And both of them assume the housing market is cooperating with you. The week your emergency happens, a homeowner with $800,000 in equity, but $5,000 in savings, and a renter with $200,000 in liquid investments have wildly different financial flexibility. The homeowner shows up as 4 times richer on a spreadsheet in any real crisis they would face. The renter is the one with options. Net worth treats those 2 financial states as the same scale. They are not. Which brings us to problem number 2. Net worth is calculated at the gross sale price of your assets. as if you could turn them into cash instantly, with no friction and no taxes owed. Neither of those assumptions is true. Selling a house involves agent fees of 5 to 6%, closing costs, transfer taxes, and capital gains tax on appreciation above a threshold. Selling a stock portfolio held outside a retirement account triggers capital gains tax on every appreciated share. Withdrawing money from a 401k before retirement age triggers ordinary income tax plus a 10% penalty, which can quietly remove a third or more of the headline balance before you ever see the money. This is what economists call the liquidation discount. What it means, in plain English, is that the number on your spreadsheet is the number you would have if you could sell everything at full price to a buyer who appeared instantly in a tax-free vacuum that does not exist. Your real net worth, the after-sale, after-tax, after-friction version, is typically 15 to 30% lower than the headline figure. For most people, that means they are at least $100,000 poorer than their own spreadsheet tells them, and most of them have no idea. And this brings us to the third problem, which is the one almost nobody calculates correctly. Net worth is a snapshot of right now. It assumes the value of your assets today and treats it as if it represents your future financial security. But your future financial life is not the value of your assets today. It is the future purchasing power of those assets against the future cost of the life you want to live. And those two numbers grow at completely different rates. The S&P 500 has historically returned around 7% real per year. The cost of healthcare and retirement has grown around 5 to 6% real per year. The cost of housing in most American metros has grown around 4 to 5% real per year. What that means, in plain English, is that your assets are quietly racing against the future cost of your own life, and depending on what kind of life you want, your net worth might be growing slower than the price of having it. A 30-year-old with $200,000 in retirement savings appears modestly wealthy by spreadsheet standards, but that $200,000 will buy roughly half as much retirement in 35 years as it would today. The net worth number does not adjust for that. It also does not adjust for the fact that healthcare, long-term care, and housing will consume a much larger share of that retirement than the average inflation rate suggests. You are not wealthy because you have a number. You are wealthy because that number can buy the life you actually want in the year you actually need it to. And that calculation is not on anyone's spreadsheet. Now here is the part nobody in the personal finance industry really wants to say out loud. Net worth is the headline number because it is the easiest number to calculate, the easiest number to track over time, and the easiest number to use in financial marketing. Become a millionaire by 40 makes for a great YouTube thumbnail. Develop a fully liquid after tax inflation adjusted purchasing power equivalent of $1 million by age 40 does not. So the entire industry built itself around a number. That is easy to chart and emotionally satisfying to grow. But that systematically overrepresents how wealthy people actually are. The financial services industry profits from this. Real estate marketing profits from this. Bank advertising profits from this. Even your own self-image profits from this. Because feeling wealthy is psychologically valuable, even when it isn't financially accurate. The system isn't broken. It is working exactly as designed for the people who designed it. The fact that millions of Americans believe they are richer than they actually are, right up until the moment they need their wealth to do something, is not a bug. It is the entire emotional product. So when someone tells you your net worth is the score that matters, they are not lying, exactly, but they are using a metric designed for marketing simplicity, not for describing your actual life. Your real financial position has 3 layers. How much you have, how much of it you can access without losing some of it, and what that remaining amount can actually buy you in the year you need it. The harder you chase the headline number, the more likely you are to confuse a growing spreadsheet with a growing life. That is not a personal failing. That is the math of a financial industry that built a simpler story than your real life can support. If you want to understand how to calculate a number that actually reflects what your wealth can do, go and watch this video next. And don't forget to like and subscribe to keep on learning how money works.